So your triceps just aren't growing, huh? Don't worry about it, because I'm going to show you here today that if we focus more of our efforts right here on the largest area of your triceps and we choose the right exercises to do that, your triceps will grow, I guarantee it. What's up guys, Chef Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So I get it. If your arms aren't growing and those triceps just don't seem to be responding, it can be really frustrating. So today I put together a video that's going to show you exactly what to do for even the most frustrating situations when those triceps just won't grow anymore. And the thing about it is, you're probably already doing a lot of the things right? You're doing close grip bench pressing to really focus on the triceps more. You're doing push-ups. You're doing all the things you've been told. But there's an old saying that says you're stepping over dollars for dimes, and when it comes to tricep anatomy here, you might be doing that. You see, because if you look at the outside of the arm, we're talking about the lateral and the medial head of the triceps, which doesn't supply nearly the size contributions, as I spin around here, that the long head does. This is where the meat of the triceps is, and this is where, if you focus your efforts, you're going to get those arms to be a hell of a lot bigger. Now, how do you do this? We can hit that panic button if need be, and take exercises that are already targeting the long head and make them even more effective by tapping into some techniques to do that. So that being said, guys, I want to cover them for you one by one and help you to get much more out of your tricep training here to ensure that you're not lacking anymore when it comes to size coming out of those shirt sleeves. So the first thing that will help a lot is if you actually have a quick little understanding of the triceps, right? And to keep it simple, 3 heads of the triceps, the lateral, the medial, and the long head. And we talked about how the lateral and the medial are the ones that are most responsible for just straightening out the elbow, right? Because that's all they do, they just cross the elbow. And when we do great exercises, like the bench press or the close grip bench press, that's the function that we're getting there. So even though you're using a lot of weight and doing a good compound lift, the triceps may not be growing to their full capacity. Why? Because they're not tapping into that large head, the long head of the triceps. To do that, you understand that long head crosses the shoulder joint and attaches to the shoulder blade. So that means in order to get that to respond best to your training, you need to do something with your shoulder. You either need to get it way up to apply a better stretch to that long head, or you need to figure out a way to get it back behind your body to supply a better full contraction of that long head. And when we're looking at an exercise like this, it is the lion tricep extension. And I've shown you guys in the past how this is such a good exercise for giving you the ability to get that arm back up over your head more, right? To apply a better stretch to the tricep. But what about if that's not even working? What if you need to get more out of it? What if you need to break that glass and hit the panic button? What would you do? You do what I'm showing you over here. What I'm doing here is I'm simply going for a better stretch of the long head. And there's a big difference. This is done properly. Both of these are done well because as you see right here, even at the top, we talked about in the past how the angle is super important. You got to be angled back from vertical, right? If you bring it all the way up to the top to a vertical position, you're going to lose the tension on the triceps even momentarily, or a lot of the tension on the triceps momentarily that you can keep on there by keeping your arm angled back. They're both doing this well, okay? But more importantly, if you let it play out, here you can see that at the bottom, right about here, the difference here, even in how much of my face you can see, is substantial. So you can see a lot more of me here because my arm is a lot more parallel to the ground versus angled here. That little extra stretch on the triceps is going to be that extra kick that you need to get a better contraction or better recruitment of muscle fibers in the triceps that are dormant right now, that once you start to do this, you're going to get them to grow a lot faster. All right, so the next change I want you to make is this one right here. We talk about the good exercises that hit the long head, anything that gets that arm up overhead. This is another option. This is the tricep push away. But there's something you can do here that's going to make this even more effective. And it's this right here. And for 2 reasons it's going to get more effective. If we stop in this position right here, we can look at the amount of stretch that we have going on the triceps. When we do it in this more traditional way, we've got that stretch and then we've got that stretch. Much more ability to get those arms up overhead to get more of that stretch on the long head to get better recruitment to contribute to every single repetition that you do. But it goes beyond that. If we go a little bit further and we watch how this thing plays out, we can see that also at the end, right there, there's a difference in the line of force and the application of this cable and the force it's targeting at your triceps. we talked about in the past that to get the best contraction or the best amount of tension on a muscle, you want that line of force to be perpendicular to the part that's moving or the muscle that's working here. And in this case, we're looking at the triceps. You can see though, even though it's going off the side there, that we're not talking about a perpendicular force here. We're talking about one that's angled at this angle here. But when I get my arms upright and I stand more upright, you can see that that angle becomes much more steep. Not perpendicular, of course, not perfect, but again, much better than we are here. So for both of those reasons, if you were just to stand a little bit more upright and really try to get those arms up high on every repetition here, then you're going to have a better shot to make sure that you can get more gains from the exercise every single time you do it. All right, so if you want to continue to keep those stubborn tricep gains coming, then you got to be willing to continue to make those tricep exercise improvements. And this is another opportunity right here because this is a popular exercise. It's the dumbbell overhead extension. And once again, it's hitting that tricep long head because of the overhead placement of the arm. But instead of holding the dumbbell here, we could hold something different, a plate, and get a lot more out of this exercise to give you better gains from doing it. You can see right off the bat, if I look at the bottom position here between these two exercises, the plate gives me a hell of a lot more stretch on the triceps. All you got to do is take a look here at the angle of my arm versus the limitation of the arm right there. I can only get so far. As a matter of fact, that dumbbell will make contact with the back of my shoulder blades or my upper back. Whereas the plate, because of its narrowness, will go all the way down to this point on my back. That gives us that better stretch. The second thing that I want to point out is the position here of the elbows. It's not only a better exercise for recruiting more tricep muscle contraction here, but it's safer on your shoulders because in this case, the elbow is kind of pointing almost straight out towards you guys, where in this case, the elbow is pointing out in that direction. Grabbing the plate puts your elbows in a position out in front of your body, which is more natural. We have something called the scapular plane where our arms prefer to be at this 45-degree angle, not all the way out here to be able to accommodate a dumbbell in your hand. If you make those two switches here, guys, you can see that every repetition becomes more impactful and more effective, ultimately leading to you having bigger triceps. And the last one here, actually a little bit of a bonus, because instead of focusing on getting that overhead stretch on the long head, I mentioned in the beginning that we could also get a better contraction if we're willing to get that arm back behind our body. When you think about an exercise like the tricep pushdown, you got to realize right off the bat that the focus is not about getting the arms behind the body, but just simply extending at the elbows. But we could do something here too to get that long head involved, and that's where we simply make a little bit of a swap. So instead of doing the exercise like this where we keep our arms right out in front of our body and just focus on straightening the elbows, we could do this. We could do an offset grip. And what the offset grip does is it simply gives me much more length by sliding the rope down to get my arm back behind my body. And all you have to do is take a look at that right there in comparison. When we look at this drawing here, if my torso is here, my arm is back behind the body that way. If my torso is here, my arm is actually in the opposite direction, out in front of the body. The ability to get yourself all the way back, as you can see here, gets a much stronger contraction on that long head, which is going to lead to much better gains for you and to make those exercises you're already doing better. All right, so with that, guys, the next time you say to yourself, Jeff, my triceps just won't grow and there's nothing I can do about it, now you have something to do about it. You make a couple exercise swaps, you hit the panic button, and you start to do things a little bit differently, and when you do, I promise you the gains will be on the other side. It doesn't mean you're going to stop bench pressing. It doesn't mean you're going to stop doing the close grip bench press. Those are great ways to overload the medial lateral head, but the real problem area for you is going to always be the largest area of the triceps that just isn't pulling its own weight. That's the long head. Now you got an attack plan for that. If you're looking for a step-by-step plan, all of our programs actually give you that step-by-step progression, all the workouts, the meal plans, everything included. You can find them all over at ATHLEAN-X.com. If you found the video helpful, make sure you leave your comments and thumbs up below. Let me know what I'm going to cover. I'll do my best to do that for you. And if you haven't already done so, guys, make sure you click subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video when we put one out. All right, guys, see you soon.